Hello, and thank you for choosing P2UX Builder as your design tool. In this video, we'll be giving you a general overview of the Builder tool. After signing in, you will be redirected to your dashboard or your application workspace. In this view, you will be able to view all of your created work or import an app from within your own work group. At the top, you will see a list of your global resource libraries. Here, you can add custom fonts or add image assets. Here, you'll be able to edit your profile, add a custom avatar, or change your job title. In the Help button, you'll be able to find a list of help topics that will redirect you to our support site. Each link is a video tutorial on how to perform that specific topic. We do value your feedback, so please leave any feedback that you have, any suggestions, issues, or concerns that you might have. An important feature to highlight is the Import App option. Here you can import an app from anybody from within your own work group. This allows you to import an app that your team has created into your very own workspace. And keep in mind that only one person can edit a screen at a time. When you click on the plus icon, you're adding a new application to your workspace. Here you can name your application. In the drop-down menu here, you can choose a device to design for. You can design for mobile and tablet at the same time, but you cannot do it for TV and mobile. Both designs have to be done separately. Under the Appearance tab, you can add an app icon. Choose from one of 4 default color palettes. These are default color palettes, so they only contain a certain amount of colors. You can add or edit the palette as you go. You can choose a default theme for your status bar. This is your application view, where you can view all of your working screens. Here are the application settings, where we were able to edit our original settings when we first created the app. So you can add or remove devices, or you can change the appearance again. Here, you can change your background. This is your screen library, where all of your created screens reside. This is your panel library. Panels are reusable pieces of UI that you can reuse with different screens. The screen seems a little big, so we're going to use our scaling options to scale down so that we can view everything from within our screen. Here we have publishing options. Publishing privately allows only you to see the changes that you've made, or publicly if you want your team to view the changes that you've made. Here we're going to publish privately. In the application view, you have the home screen marker that you can set as your starting point for your app. If you made any changes on the fly and you wanted to see those changes immediately, you can set a specific home screen, publish, and view it in our player. Another very cool feature that we have is to manage or detach templates. Here we have a design for Android platform, where our nav bar is actually closer to the middle of the screen. We wanted it to look different, so we designed it differently from the iOS version, which has the nav bar closer to the bottom. When you publish this app on an Android platform, the design will correlate with the Android design. and vice versa for the iOS. With the Manage Templates option, this allows you to see how the design scales responsively to different screen sizes. For instance, if we scale up to a 6 or 6 plus, we'd have to define those sets of properties in the editor in order for it to scale responsively. When you click on a current screen or click on a new screen, you're entering the application editor. At the top, you'll find your selector, a shape creator, which has rectangle, lines, and ellipses, and a text box. At the top, we have the Global Resources Libraries. In this folder, we are able to add colors to our palettes, and we can create our own gradients as well. As mentioned before, we can add custom fonts and images. This other folder here is the Manage Styles folder, which allows you to add a style to a component which you use repeatedly throughout different screens. This way you don't have to manually readjust its positioning and or color. Here we have a list of our components, an image, a button, a navigation item. These three are scrollable lists and grids, a map, a toggle, a radio button, user input, switch control, slider, progress bar, radial progress, web view, and a cool custom control that acts as a placeholder for you to insert code to the back end and create a custom control for your UI. This section is an active list of all the current controls that you've added to your screen. You can reorder the Z order of each component to be in the front or the back of your screen. When you select a component, you are able to edit its properties in the Component Properties editor. These drop-downs right here allow you to scale the component so that it would have a more responsive feeling across different form factors. We're going to go to the home screen, and for each element that's in here, we've set the repositioning with the device's screen to both X and Y scale and width and height scale. If we switch between the different form factors on here, we'll be able to see the responsive feeling. This resizes the components in percentage with the device's screen. Here we're going to look at the layout properties. We've added a few images, and we're going to define some layout properties by clicking on the plus sign and selecting these options here, left align to image 1, which is at the top, or we can set it below 10 pixels to image 1. We're going to do the same thing for the third image, but we're going to set the same properties, but only to image 2. If I move this around the screen, everything will be moved relative to the positioning of the very first item. In this section, we're going to talk about the interactions and linking between the different screens that we've created. We're going to go to our nav bar and select our first button. In the Interactions tab, you're going to select the trigger of onSelected and set the action to Show Screen. There are different actions such as Show Panel, Hide Panel, Set State, Set Property, and even Set a Variable. We're going to link that to our home screen. We're going to set this history to Do Not Add History. We're going to do the same for our center. And all the other buttons on here are linking to their respective screens. Here you have the ability to bind real data to a control with data sources using RESTful, local, or static data. Here we have an image that we're going to hook up to live data. we'll go to the Data tab and select Property. You have a list of properties that you can choose from, and here we selected Fill Image. We're going to select the source. There's different types of data sources, like transient, live in the memory and not persistent with the app, secure variables that are stored in secure memory, media variables relate to the media on the device, so on and so forth. But here we're going to choose one that we've already created called Adopt a Pet. We're going to select the data path, and we're going to select picture 1, as it is the first picture in the scroll container. In this scroll container, there is a list of text that correlate with that specific data item. Here, you'll be able to eventually add your own data sources, request parameters, and right now you can even click on this to add your own variables. This is our mobile player where we're viewing our live published app. This concludes the general overview of the P2UX Builder. We hope that this tutorial will help you build your first project. If you have any trouble, any suggestions, or comments, please don't hesitate to drop us a line.